got all these bits cleaned up now. Cleaned them with the steam cleaner, and I sprayed them with some PTFE just so they don't go rusty. I blast these bearings with a steam on the side like that until so they're spinning, and then throws all the grease out, and the heat and the centrifugal force cleans the bearing out well. Some people might not like doing that, but that's how I do with these things. Done the same with each one of these. Span them with a pressure washer and blasted the hot water above and underneath to clean them. I'll take these off and check the bushes. They feel good, but if I can press new bushes and put new pins in it, I might as well do that now. Since all that fine swath was inside the hub, I'll change the bearings anyway. They got scratch marks on them. They'd be alright, like I could put it back together and it would be fine, but it might only last me a few years. Oh, I don't know, probably last 10 years like that. But I'll do a proper job of fixing it up instead of half a job. I don't need to do half a job. Oh, this bearing race has got chips in it anyway, so need to change that bearing. They're machined to match the race. You can't swap the bearings around, and especially if you've been running them. Like this thing's got 3,000 or 4,000 hours on it, so it's worn and bedded in to match itself. I'll change these UJs on this. They feel alright, but the back one is a little bit clunky. And there's 18,000 hours on it, so I'll take it off. Should really weld this up and machine it back down, because the seal's worn that pretty good now. Pretty deep grooves in there. I might put a MIG weld around them. These bearings, I can't remember if I changed the bearing last time when I done this last time, so I'll change that and new seal, new O-ring in here. These splines on this other end are good. I'll check all the splines, make sure that the shoulders are nice and square. Need to go around all of these individually and check that they're still nice and square, smooth, no chips in them. If you've got a chip in them, there's a good chance a tooth might catch one time. Especially if you're putting these back and they're slightly worn and you've got a chip, more chance of it landing on the edge of the chip and chipping more every time. I know the machine to have a bit of a shoulder, the angle changes from there to there. For the machine to accept the ankle changing as the tooth walks, because that's how they go, and they don't just go like that. And, so they will take wear and chips. They'll run with chips in them, but for how long the tooth itself is weakened. But it's more than strong enough to take it, I would imagine. Much bigger, stronger teeth than the teeth in the transmission in the gearbox. The teeth in the gearbox are, well, maybe like that. There's 3 of these here, but these are subject to much more force than the ones in the gearbox. Well, saying that, these are only driving one hub, the one in the gearbox driving all 4, or 3. Diff lock in the back, and then 3 diff in the front, driving at least 3. This is a bit clenched on here. I might be able to get away with using this hub. I'll see how much a hub is. Apart from the end of this thread here, it doesn't look too bad. When the nut, I'll get a new nut, I won't use that nut. When the nut is tightened in place, the nut itself is down about 3 threads or 4 threads. So that top two threads aren't actually holding anything when it's in place. Only these two notches here to take the outside edge of the nut that's crimped into the groove then to lock the nut from coming loose. Positives and negatives of having a adjustable bearing nut. When you tighten them tight and they've got preset bushes or preset shimming in the bearing itself, you can tighten the nut as tight as it'll go, as tight as it's supposed to go, and then lock it in. There's less chance of it coming loose. These, the nut is turned to a setting, but it's never tight, it's just there. So, I don't know, nothing wrong with them. Made like that, just, I think the ones the preset are maybe better and worse. They're more expensive. Once they're worn, they're worn. These are worn when they're worn as well, but I'll get all the bits ordered for this now. And 2 UJs, bearings and seals for that. And I won't order the hub. I'll get the nut. I'll check these before I order for condition. Those 3 on the orbital. Nothing's alright. Nothing's alright. I'll get the 2 new bearings, the big seal on the back, and the centre seal going into that, and the little bush. And here, the little brass bush in there, which I didn't change last time, and I regretted not getting it. I'll change that. It's split and everything now anyway, because there's a big crack in it. Because this had come loose and then it was all going like that. It was putting a lot of force. The shaft would have been riding on this and everything, but the shaft been riding on that hasn't caused any damage to the actual shaft. And it's not a bearing surface or anything, it's just a hole machined through so the shaft fits through the hub. So if that's got a little bit of damage on that surface, it doesn't mean anything. As long as everything still fits within their tolerance and turn, and the seals sit and seal properly, they're alright. They're in there as well. Up there. That was the wrong way round, isn't it? See what condition these are in. Must just have a little O-ring on these pins. It's my take on it. I think these would have Loctite on them, wouldn't you? Oh, them coming loose. I'll Loctite them back now. No. That's a shame on the front. I should use the manual when I'm doing this, really. I'll just take things to bits. I thought it was a bit of a bush. Quite glad that it's a roller bearing. I can take them apart and clean them up. I'll have to search for all the rollers now. Hope none went in that bucket. Doesn't look like it. I think I got them all. Now I'm taking for granted now you can't just buy the needles for the bearing. I don't think it presses out, it comes as one unit, I think. I'll ask when I ring up for them. Otherwise I'll just have to take these off and clean them out and put the needles back with their rollers. But I'll be putting some of these the wrong way round. At least half of them will be the wrong way round now, so I don't know why you can't buy just needles for it. I'll have a look. Not only want to put the same rollers back with the same bearing, really in the same orientation as they were, you also want to have the same gear on the same bush as well. You can't put those needles on another bush. It must come complete. You might get the new pin with the needles, I don't know. These centre parts don't seem to come off. You can count the bearings in that one like this. I'll leave them on. I think there's more than 19. Okay, so there's 22 in that one. I've got 3 missing. I'll take these out and clean them. They don't seem too badly worn, to be honest with you. I'll just take them out and clean them, since there was so much metal swap in the oil. I'll take them apart, clean them, put them back together. There's no sense in not cleaning them out. See on my finger there's lots of shiny material, so that'll be wearing on the needles and the inside housing of this bearing surface. It doesn't look like the centre presses out or anything. There's one part bearing pin. I wouldn't reckon that these pins come individually either. These would have to come as a complete set. You'd have to have the gear, the pin, and with the needles in it. I would highly doubt that they're sold separately. Made myself a quick little list here on what I need. Got the hub nut and main bearings, so this one and the other one that's on the other side of the hub itself, so that one there rides in here, and then the other one there is clamped in place over this held by the hub nut there. Rides on the back of this. There you go. Just lives on there like that, and then that hub rides in here between the two bearings, sandwiched, and the nut adjusts the amount of slop between them. So get those two bearings and the brass bush, the little bush in the middle here that I didn't know anything about last time when I done the thing, and I was a bit worried about it, but hopefully won't be worried about it anymore. Got all the parts. Got 2 bearings for there. That one and that one are the same part number. You got new nut to put in the hub there. Got a couple of shims. I think it's a assortment of different sizes. Not sure they're all the same size. Anyway, I've got some shims to make up for the last one. Got the brass bush. This seal looks the same as that one on the output on the axle, but it's not the same. And you got the big rubber one there. So that's that one's a bit bigger maybe. I didn't get the bearing. I did ask for the bearing, I just didn't get it. What happens when you order parts and rely on people to get you all the parts. I don't know what these 2 screws are for. I don't know why I got them. 2 UJs. And 3 packs of these little kneaded roller bearings to put in the gears there. I can take all the old ones out and put these in. They must be the softest part. The pin they ride on must be harder, so make them replaceable. It's about 18,000 hours on these. That looks bad, but there's no bearings in it. I'll give all these components a quick clean again with the steam cleaner before I assemble the whole thing together. I don't want any dirt and grit left in them. I sprayed them with the PTFE just to keep them clean, but you see that one's binding a bit. There's bits of dirt in it. The teeth all look good. There's a few scratches in them. There's a scratched line in the middle there, but it won't stop the tractor. There were shims behind these gears as well, so I put each shim in the same orientation underneath each one, so all those gears have just come off like that, so the shims are also facing the same way as they were. I've kept these in an order as well, just in case that those new ones don't fit for any reason. I don't want to mix them up. It's bad enough that they've lost their direction, but it's better to put the same ones in the same one back than muddle them all up. Good work, muddled up, but it might run a bit rough. Gonna deform the seal here with a chisel and lever it out. I can get the bearing, then the hydraulic puller should fit around each side of the bearing with 2 legs. Deformed it a little bit there and there, so it's making it a little bit easier for it to come up now. It's made the seal a bit smaller. The chisel's going underneath it now, between the 2 housings. I don't have much of anything to go under this without causing any damage. Spanner works alright after getting it up above the chisel. Just hooks up in underneath the seal there. Yeah. You need to know what you can get away with, maybe putting a little bit of damage on some of the housings. Scratch just the bottom there with a chisel there, and just the bottom there, trying to get it under, but it shouldn't affect it. Anything, the seal will still go down all the way to the bottom there. I'll just sand it smooth with some emery paper, make sure the seal goes exactly where it's supposed to go. Pull it on this now. Well, I had to grind down the tip of the tool. It wouldn't quite fit in the recess there for the puller to go in. Something you don't really want to be doing, and not good for your tools, but I've got 6 of them, so I've got 2 narrow tipped ones now. I'm hoping the bearing will be strong enough to pull up on it, because it'll be pulling up on the cage rather than pulling up on the in the race there, which I'd prefer, but what can you do? Just put some PTFE spray on the puller. Pretty much just, well, I want to get it as tight as it'll go. And there. It slackened the pressure on the puller as it went in, because as those go down, it gets longer, doesn't it? I'm gonna just check that it's pretty much in the middle. Start pulling. So you can see it's just pulling on the race there now, but I think she's sliding up pretty easy anyway. Just turning it with one finger. And she comes off. These hydraulic pullers are good, but they run out of range sometimes when you're doing difficult stuff. Just checking if this camera's recording. Just seeing everything good and everything. I got that done. I'll put the puller away now, all the tools. A bit of edge on this chisel. Hopefully get a good hold on the seal now. No. Much of a silly angle on it. Need something thinner. Oh, this catcher. It's too big. So we're going to catch it pretty good then. That there are proper tools for doing this, not just anything like I'm doing this now. I'm just doing like this because I haven't got anything else with me here. It's good enough if you're careful. A little bit caught on the piece of the edge there. No. Bushes flaking out. To get it out now. Ah, there's a little lip on the bush here. Seems to be moving. I'm going too hard, try and keep the angle good on this because I don't want the chisel to eat into the back of the bar where this bush sits. Make this into a flat head punch. Cheap stuff anyway, doesn't matter. Let's give it a sharp corner. In a sharp corner I might catch the housing just as bad as the chisel. Well, I think we're pushing the seal now. Feels like it anyway. There's nothing worse for you doing jobs like this than being impatient. If you're impatient, don't do the job. Well, you can do it, but you got a good chance of damaging stuff if you're impatient. You can cost yourself quite a lot if you start damaging things. Come out. And the seal isn't moving. Can't catch on the seal. Check that it's moving. Nope. Need to get that bugger out first. Well, I really need to tidy the shed up so I can find my tools. I'm gonna make a little dent in this with a centre punch. And put one, if not more, self-tapping screws in it.